December 25th, 2010, Christmas Day. While most families were gathered around their trees exchanging gifts and celebrating the holiday, Ben McDaniel was preparing for a dive. At Vortex Spring in Florida, a popular diving location known for its crystal-clear waters and labyrinthine underwater cave system, the 30-year-old experienced diver told the facility's employees he was heading down to explore the caves. He was last seen around 7:30 p.m., preparing to enter a section of the cave system that was gated off, requiring specialized training and equipment to access. 2 days later, his car remained in the parking lot, with his wallet and keys still inside. But Ben McDaniel had disappeared without a trace. Vortex Spring is a natural wonder in Florida's panhandle. It's a first-magnitude freshwater spring, pumping out 28 million gallons of water every day at a constant 68 degrees. For recreational divers, it's paradise. A basin 200 feet across with crystal-clear visibility and depths of around 50 feet, where most people can safely swim and explore. But what makes Vortex truly special is what lies beneath. A vast limestone cave system stretching into darkness. The entrance to this system is a small opening at the bottom of the basin, no larger than a manhole cover. It leads downward into increasingly narrow passages that wind deep into the earth. Because of the extreme dangers these caves present, access is restricted. A metal gate sits about 115 feet into the cave, locked with a combination that only certified cave divers are supposed to know. Ben McDaniel wasn't just any diver. He was passionate about the sport, diving frequently at Vortex Spring, and had become familiar with the staff. According to those who knew him, he was trying to earn his cave diving certification, but it's unclear whether he had completed the rigorous training. What is known is that on previous dives, employees had seen him slip beyond the gate, going places few divers are qualified to venture. Ben's life before that Christmas Day dive was complicated. He had once been a successful businessman running a construction company in Tennessee, but the 2008 recession hit him hard. His business collapsed, his marriage ended, and financial problems mounted. He'd relocated to Florida to start fresh, living in the beach community of Santa Rosa and focusing on his passion for diving. The night of Ben's disappearance was relatively routine for Vortex Spring. A few people were around, including an employee who reported seeing Ben suit up for a dive. According to the witness, Ben was carrying 2 tanks and his usual gear, preparing to enter the water around 7:30 p.m. The employee even recalled that Ben appeared to be heading toward the cave entrance. What happened after that remains a mystery. 2 days passed before anyone realized something was wrong. Ben's car sat undisturbed in the parking lot, with his wallet and keys locked inside. His diving equipment was nowhere to be found. When the facility staff realized he hadn't returned, they contacted authorities, and a search operation quickly mobilized. Initial rescue divers went into the basin and cave entrance but found nothing. As concern grew, specialized cave diving teams were called in. These weren't just any divers. They were some of the best in the world. Experts who had mapped uncharted cave systems and performed recoveries in the most hazardous underwater environments imaginable. Ed Sorensen, a renowned cave diver and rescue specialist, led several dives into the system. He and his team went deeper into the cave than almost anyone had gone before, squeezing through passages barely wider than a human body, using guidelines to ensure they could find their way back in the near-zero visibility conditions that can occur when silt is disturbed. "I've been in thousands of caves all over the world," Sorensen would later recount. "I've never seen a recovery operation this extensive where we didn't find a body." The divers spent days methodically searching every possible passage where Ben could have gone. They ventured so deep that they reached sections that would be physically impossible for a diver of Ben's size to access while wearing tanks. Yet they found nothing. No equipment, no sign of struggle, no body. As the underwater search continued without results, investigators began examining Ben's life more closely. They discovered that beyond his diving passion and recent life struggles, Ben had taken out a substantial life insurance policy. His parents, still reeling from the death of their other son in a 2008 accident, were listed as beneficiaries. This revelation shifted the investigation's tone. Could Ben have staged his own disappearance? The theory gained traction when divers reported that the cave system, while dangerous, contained no obvious place where a body could remain concealed for so long, especially from searchers of their caliber. But other evidence contradicted the idea of a planned disappearance. Ben had made plans with friends for the days following Christmas. He'd been talking enthusiastically about future dive trips. And perhaps most tellingly, he'd left behind his anxiety medication in his car, something someone with his condition would be unlikely to abandon if planning to start a new life elsewhere. As weeks turned into months, the search continued sporadically. Cave divers volunteered their time to look for Ben, some traveling from other countries to assist. A $30,000 reward was offered for information or recovery, but every dive ended the same way, with no trace of Ben McDaniel. Today, more than a decade after Ben's disappearance, three main theories persist. The first is that Ben died in the cave, but in a location so remote or constricted that even the expert search teams couldn't reach it. Supporters of this theory point to Ben's possible lack of proper cave training and the unforgiving nature of underwater caves. One wrong turn, one equipment failure, one moment of panic, and a diver can quickly find themselves in a fatal situation. Eduardo Tarin, one of the expert divers who searched for Ben, has stated, "In cave diving, there is no margin for error. The environment is completely hostile to human life. You make a mistake, and within minutes, you're dead." The second theory is that Ben successfully exited the water, but met with foul play afterward. Perhaps he encountered someone in the parking lot or on his way home. However, investigators found little evidence supporting this scenario, and it doesn't explain why his car remained at the spring. The third and most controversial theory is that Ben staged his own disappearance. Proponents cite his financial troubles, the life insurance policy, and the comprehensive yet fruitless search as evidence. They suggest Ben could have had an accomplice who helped him exit the water unseen and leave the area. But for those who knew Ben personally, this theory falls short. His mother, Patty McDaniel, has steadfastly maintained that her son would never put his family through such an ordeal, especially after they had already lost one son. What makes Ben McDaniel's story so haunting isn't just the mystery of his disappearance, it's what it reveals about the unforgiving nature of cave diving, often called the most dangerous recreational activity in the world. Cave diving has claimed hundreds of lives. The sport's unofficial motto is sobering. There are no accidents in cave diving, only mistakes. The golden rule of cave diving is that you use only 1/3 of your air supply for entering the cave, 1/3 for exiting, and keep 1/3 as a reserve. Break this rule, and survival becomes a matter of luck rather than skill. In 2016, 2 experienced divers died at Vortex Spring in separate incidents. In both cases, their bodies were recovered relatively quickly. The fact that Ben's never was continues to confound experts. Today, Vortex Spring remains a popular diving destination. Visitors swim in the basin, unaware that just below them lies one of diving's most perplexing mysteries. The gate to the cave system is still there, still locked, still protecting the unwary from the dangers that claimed, or possibly provided escape for, Ben McDaniel. We may never know what happened to Ben McDaniel on that Christmas night in 2010. Ben McDaniel entered those waters and never emerged. Whether by choice or circumstance, he became part of the legend of Vortex Spring, a cautionary tale about the thin line between adventure and disaster, about the depths we go to escape or explore, and about the mysteries that sometimes remain unsolved. If you found this story of underground survival fascinating, check out our video of the Krubera cave disaster, where another team of explorers faced death in the Earth's deepest cave system. Click the video on screen now to discover how they found their way back to the light when Ben McDaniel never did.